Hi, everyone. Good evening. Hi, Ludo. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me, Ludo? Perfect. Welcome to our webinar, Buying a Home in Eindhoven or in the south of the Netherlands region. First things first, let me put to the other slide so I can. Today's section will be recorded and shared, so don't worry about it. Of course, you can take your notes, but you will receive anyway this presentation, the whole recording section, and our contacts will be in there as well. So, and we would kind of like you to, before we started, to ask you to save your questions for the end. We're going to answer all of them. Please do ask them, and if after the webinar you feel that you forgot some of them, you will see my email at the end. Please feel free to reach me, to send me an email. I'll be glad to help you out if you forget something. So this is me. I am Diovana. I am from Brazil. I have been living in the Netherlands for 13 years. It'll be in January. I have 2 kids, 1 son and 1 daughter, 3 and 8 years old. 8-year-olds. I have rented place in the Netherlands. I have bought a house, renovated the whole house, sold the house, bought a new one. I have to add another renovation in there, which is quite a big one. My house is very old, but we renovated everything. I have moved about, I think only in the Netherlands, about 8 or 9 times. I lived in the north first, in Assen, all the way to the north, and then Groningen, and then I ended up here in Eindhoven. I've been here for about, in Eindhoven, 9 or 10 years. So that's a little bit of my history. This is our buying team. This is my colleagues, Katie, Alana, Philip, Ludo, and Kimo. We also have Rick, one of our new colleagues that will help out you guys with the whole buying process in the Netherlands. We are from everywhere in the world, so we know what you have been through this crazy buying process that it is at the moment. So it's nice to have to know where you're going through. It's nice to know, nice for you to know that we have been in the same position, or some of us will be in the same position for the new buyers in our team as well. So this is our team at H&N, the buying team, and we'd like to tell you a few things about us. We are not traditional real estate agents. We don't have houses for sell, or we don't buy from anyone to sell it. We only help with the process of buying and rental as well. We have a fixed charge. We don't have a commission, so you can buy a house that costs 100K. I don't think that's possible actually, but you could maybe, and go up to, I think we had a client this month, his budget was 3.5 million euros. So our fees fixed for everyone, so we don't charge a commission, and we also don't have a number of houses that you can see us and offers. We are with you until the end of the process. We hope to be with you in the end of the process. We hope that the process go very smooth and very easy, and of course not so long, because that's not very nice, right? And we know what it's like to settle in a new country. I've been in a few of them myself. It's not easy to move around, and I chose this country to be for now, I would say. Let's see for the next, for the future. Let's start it. Wait. We would like to tell you everything about it. We don't, no secrets from us. Sharing is caring. I will give all the information you need. I'm not a financial advisor, so I will try to answer all your questions, of course, regarding that as well, if you have it, but please always consult a financial advisor. I'm not one. I have not studied for. I did financial for myself, of course, 2 times in this country, and I have helped all my clients, but they always have a financial advisor who can give you all the answers you need. And if you don't have a financial advisor yet, we do have very nice companies that we work with. They have done mortgage for our clients, mortgage for ourselves. So if you need any names, please also drop me an email. I'll be glad to tell their names, and some very nice people that can help you out to do that. We will share our opinions and experience of the whole process, but again, always ask you through financial advisor. We have a little poll just to get to know you. Let's see if it works. Let me try. Oh, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, Ludo. No. So our poll is not working. So we're going to go further in the presentation. So the goal today is add value to you and share all the information we know of the process, of course. We have some news about Eindhoven, the Eindhoven area. You probably, of course, heard about it, the whole shortness of houses, not only in Eindhoven, but the whole area. But Eindhoven is quite big, but the whole Netherlands have around 300,000 houses that, well, they don't have it, not enough for all those people. So it's a big shortness of houses, apartments, all kind of properties. So that's why we see the market go so crazy the way it is. It's not only for buying, but also for rent as well, especially now that our borders are open, more and more expats are coming. They are coming because they couldn't 2 years ago. So now everyone is coming. Also, the rental market is going through a tough spot. So that's what it happens. Here we have some news about houses being overbid and around 100K over the price that you're going to see on Funda, We're going to explain a little bit more that in the further in the presentation, but that's what we see that has happened here in the whole area. This was actually in Helmond, a city nearby. You probably know by now, about 15 minutes drive from Eindhoven. And but yeah, the shortness of houses is very high, and people also need to get rid of some money. They also want to buy desperately. So then we see some very high deals in the market. We also, here is something about Eindhoven. I guess I have the knowledge to say that Eindhoven is not the prettiest city in the Netherlands. We have much pretty ones, but it's a very nice one. We have very different things. This week we have the Dutch design example. So thank you for being here and not in the Dutch Design Week, which is quite nice actually. I already saw it myself, so go for it. Let's move on. Some news also about the National Mortgage Guarantee. Please talk to your advisor about this, your mortgage advisor. But from January 2022, the price will go up to 355, which means that you can have your mortgage financed with the national NEHG, the National Mortgage Guarantee, that with a value of maximum purchase price of 355. The NEHG gives you a lot of good things. First, very low interest rate. I believe I had a client last week who closed a deal from 0.9% or something like that. And also they have very special little things that make it different in normal mortgage. For example, if you lose your job, if you get into a divorce, or if you have an accident and not able to work anymore. So those are some advantages that you have if you have that kind of mortgage. But again, if you buy in 2021, is a maximum of 325, and if you buy a from January 2022 onwards, is 355. Transfer taxes exceptions are also some news that we heard this year. So for you guys that are here for the first time or haven't heard yet, if you are younger than 35 years old, if you never bought a house in the Netherlands, and the price of the house is up to 400K, you don't have to pay the 2% transfer taxes, which also gives you a little help at the end, because you can only finance the value of the purchase process, the purchase of the house, and not the expenses, of course. Also, if you have a partner and your partner is younger than 35, but you are older, and your partner also never bought a house, so you together you get 1%, 1%, not discount, 1% tax-free. Instead of paying the 2%, you pay 1%. Also, that also goes if you have a partner who already bought a house in the Netherlands, but you haven't bought yet, and you are younger than 35, you also get the 1% transfer taxes. So you don't have to pay the 1% transfer taxes. But again, just remember, you talk to your mortgage advisor about it. He will be the one to tell you which is better for you and what is better to do in your case. We did a little comparison about renting and buying in our region here in Eindhoven. This apartment was in a market for rent for 1350. I have to tell, to be honest, I do believe that the price now is 1550. We have to upgrade that just for you to realize how high it went. And we did a little, I have to just move my camera because otherwise I don't see the pros. We have to see the pros about having an apartment and rent an apartment. You have flexibility, no property or homeowner taxes that they can be quite expensive, depend on the apartment you buy. Houses, of course, don't have that, most of them. No down payments, only the deposit you have to do to be able to buy it. Sometimes 1 month, 2 months, it can go up to 3 months if you have pets. Maintenance of the whole property is from the landlord responsibilities. The cons, 1350 a month to the landlord. Remember to use the 1550 when you get the presentation, just for you to have a better look at it. Not building up any equity, of course, you're just giving the money away. No benefits on market conditions or risks. So this is the same apartment, well, most likely 10 square meters less, but the same building. It was for sale, but this was from 2020. It was for sale for 398. So would add around 5 to 6% already on that price, maybe a little bit more even. So the pros about this apartment: stability, no end and easy, of course, mortgage interest deduction, build up equity by monthly payments. As you can see, 398, you already put some 5 to 6% on this price. And the cons, of course, property and owner taxes. I know in this building, it's not so high because it's not cheap, but it's not so high because it's a building that is considered new. It's very well maintained. It's harder to move, of course, if you buy in a property in the Netherlands and you need to move to another country. It'll be a little more hard. You have to sell it first, most likely. But one thing about this, we always tell our clients, if you are buying a property in this country, always think about staying here at least 3 to 5 years, because that's what you need. Of course, the market, it is going crazy and the house prices are going very high every year, but it's still buying now to sell in 6 or 7 months, it's very risky, or in a year even. So if you are buying a property, think about it, stay in this country for about 3 to 5 years. That's our advice to our clients. Unless you get an amazing deal, of course, and you are able to sell even better. But yeah, take that in consideration. Maintenance is your responsibilities. Although when it's an apartment, a lot of things are responsibilities of the owner association, but when you have a house, it's different. It's completely yours. So here we did a little comparison for you to see. Rental price 1350, that'll be more or less the value per year. Buying price 398, interest rates 1.54, monthly payments for the buying 80.86, and then that's only for the purchase of the price of the apartment, and then you have the interest rate payments 496. Closing fees to be able to buy the house, we're going to talk about them a little bit further, are around 15,000. Oh, sorry, did it put? No, that's correct. And then here you have a little graph that you can see the difference between both of them, and when will the payments, when will be a very good investment for you, of course, if you stay longer in the country. What you need in savings, that's I'm talking about now the closing fees, what you need in savings to be able to buy a house in the Netherlands. So this is very important, because in the Netherlands you are only able to get 100% mortgage, nothing more than that, nothing, you can get less, of course, or you can have as a mortgage, if you have budget enough, you can have as a mortgage what the valuation report will say in the price that you put in the valuation report. Oops, let me click it again. So those are all the values you need when you buy a house in the Netherlands. What you need to do, if you are, again, the transfer tax that I told you before, if it's a new house, completely new, that nobody ever lived there before, you don't have to pay the 2% transfer tax. I got very lucky with that in my first house, because they built the house in 2009, and then it was the beginning of the crisis, and they didn't sell the house. So the house was, there was a complex of houses, and the house was closed. They completely closed the house. they only have like doors inside, and the doors, of course, the glasses and everything, but even some bedrooms didn't have a door, but there was no the concrete floor, of course, was there, but there was no pretty floor, no kitchen, no nothing. And that's how you get a new house. And then they closed the door, and they locked the house, and they because it was a big company, they had money enough, they decided not to sell into the market. It was getting better. So in 2014, I rented the house next door, and we saw that house, and like, okay, it's closed for so long, shall we ask if they want to sell it? So they sold it to us. They just sold it like in a few days. They said, oh yes, why not? It's closed for like so many years. So even the house was closed, but nobody ever registered the house. It was not, there was no contract or anything, no transfer deed, nothing in the house. So we were lucky. The house was closed. It was built in 2009, but we bought in 2014, and we were able to not pay the 2% transfer taxes in that time because the house was closed for so long. And of course, we bought it in a good time. It was the beginning of the end of the crisis. Like the market was getting up again. But today, if you are younger than 35 and the house is up to 400 and it's your first home, you don't have to pay those transfer taxes. You do have to pay for the notary to make your purchase, your mortgage deed and transfer deed. Here in North Brabant, in Eindhoven region, the selling part most likely will make the purchase agreement, so you don't have to pay the notary to do that, which is fine. And you also get tax return for the mortgage deed. Everything relates to the mortgage, you get tax return. So you see mortgage deed, you get it. Transfer deed, that's the deal between you and the seller. Then you don't get the money back. But you do get from the mortgage broker, from the financial advisor, we put the cost that's more or less in the market. Of course, you can have higher. I never saw cheaper one, but I saw higher already, but just for you to have an idea. Also about the notary, that's quite accurate from the prices in Eindhoven region. The appraiser, a typical real estate agents, if you hire someone to help you buying a house, most of them will charge you a percentage of the purchase price that you pay for the house. And as I said it before, the H&N, we don't charge you a fixed purchase percentage. We do charge a fixed fee for it. An appraiser, you need an appraiser to make an evaluation report. That's mandatory to get a mortgage in the Netherlands. I will explain a little bit more further what does the appraiser, his job is. And the prices went up from 1st of October. They have to make a new report, which is much more complex to do. So the prices, of course, went up. But in Eindhoven, at least the ones we are using for our clients, they are charging around 650 to 750. They might add a little bit of a few things. If you add construction or those kind of things, the price can be a little bit different, but it's not so much more than that. Technical inspection, also going to explain a bit further. So the appraiser, because it's a mandatory for you to get your mortgage, you also get the tax back. The technical inspector is not mandatory. You do when you think it's necessary to inspect the house, and that costs around 425. I would say for Eindhoven it's a bit cheaper even. An interpreter is mandatory, although it's nothing to do with your mortgage. It's mandatory for the whole buying process. A little tip for you guys. In my first house, I hired someone, not me, but a notary asked, do we need an interpreter? Of course, because in that time I didn't speak Dutch yet. So we had an interpreter that spoke Portuguese. And that was very expensive. So for the second house, we just got with an English one, much cheaper. And it's literally the same thing. If you're good enough with your English, and English will do, and it's much cheaper. Bank guarantee, that's also mandatory. And Dutch contracts and the purchase agreement will say that you need to pay 10% bank guarantee to the seller. That money will be held by the notary, and they use as a fine to pay the fine if something happens, if you don't go further with the deal, of if you buy without the financial clause and then you're not able to get a mortgage, you do have to pay 10% of the purchase price to the seller. So you do need to pay 1% to the bank for them to borrow the money. So if you buy a house of 300K, you need to transfer 30,000 euros to the notary. And the notary will hold on to the money until the whole process is done. And you can, but you don't have to pay yourself if you don't want to. You can borrow the money from the bank, but you do have to pay 1% for that. And of course, for you to get the NHG, the National Mortgage Guarantee, you also have to pay a fee. Is 0.7%. It's just once you pay at the beginning of the process, and that also you get tax back on that. So I would say, just for you to have a little calculation of everything for the purchase price, if you do have to pay the transfer taxes, I would say save around 4 to 5% from the purchase price in cash to be able to pay all those expenses. Of course, if you don't need a technical inspection, it's different. If you're going to get the 2%, if you're not going to pay the 2% transfer tax, you can already work with 3% of the purchase price. So that's what you need to have in cash to pay to be able to buy a house. The rest will be, of course, your mortgage, and then you are able to finance, but not the costs of the process. Where are you in the buying process? We cannot do our poll again. So nope. This is, we want to know if you already got into Funda, or if you're already looking at houses, or what did you see out there? We had a few questions, you know, but unfortunately it's not working. So we're going to go further. The buying timeline. We had put a little timeline for you to understand the buying process. And I want to explain very clearly, because I have questions once about the time we put it here. And of course, it depends what you're looking for, depends about your budget, about the area. It can be longer, it can be shorter, it can take a few weeks, can take months, can take years. I hope it doesn't take years. So it really depends. So start process, of course, you go to Funda. Funda, it is where the 99% of the houses will be. I know there is a lot of conversation about houses being not being on Funda, that you can buy them before. I'm going to be honest with you, that did happen, and it happens sometimes, not anymore like it was before, but it did happen before. The house I live today, for example, I did buy like that, but of course I work in the field, so I would know. So another agent contacted me, and he knew about what I needed, what I want, and I ended up getting it. But it was years ago. It doesn't happen that often anymore, because let's put it this way. If I'm selling the house I live in today, if I put it on Funda, my chances are that I'm going to get 100 people to come and see the house, and I'm going to get what, about 15 offers at least. And if I just call one agent, he 5 people, and those from 5 people, I'm going to have like 3 offers. So I think if you're thinking with me, it's much more convenient to put your house on Funda and have so many offers as you can, unless you are looking for a specific buyer, of course. Yeah, I would looking for the higher offer in my case. So you would have more chances and more offers, of course. So most of the houses are there. There are real estate agents that do put their houses on Facebook pages 1 or 2 days before, or they put in their own newsletters, or on the whole social media, Instagram and everything. So if you want to know, I know all of them. I have prepared a little list. So if you want to know who they are, the ones that put it more on Facebook before then, or on the social medias before Funda, please drop me an email and I can send you my list. I don't mind to do that. And then you might have a little bit more chance when you look at the house, because if you call them before, you can make an appointment faster, of course. So when you go to Funda, you make your appointment, you go you go to the house. Most likely going to have a deadline to send the offer. They're going to give you, it really depends on the agent, sometimes 3 days, sometimes a week, sometimes a week and a half to submit your offer. Once you submit your offer, you get your offer accepted. Please be aware of all the conditions in your offer. Please be aware of the price research as well. It's very important for you to know the real value of the market. We're going to talk a bit further about that as well. I will explain to you about the real value versus the Funda value. It's very different. I know there's a lot of conversation about overbidding, so that's why we're going to go to that specific point a little bit further. But you submit your offer with the right conditions, the ones that protect you, of course, and then your offer gets accepted. Once your offer gets accepted, it's time for you, if you put in your offer that would you like to have your house inspected, to make an appointment with the technical inspection. And of course, the appraiser is mandatory for you to get your mortgage. My tip here, a lot of people do the appraiser only after they sign the purchase agreement. Please don't do that, especially if you have no idea or no clue about the house market or the real value of the property, because it might be very dangerous for you, or if you bought without a financial clause, which is also very dangerous. So get the appraiser and get a technical, the technical inspection has to be there anyway before the signing of the purchase agreement, because let's say he makes a report and say that you have to, I don't know, fix the roof, for example, then you need to talk about this before you sign the purchase agreement. But the appraiser, a lot of people do afterwards. So my tip to you is do that first. So once you have the purchase agreement, you sign the purchase agreement, you still have a few days, we call the cooling off period. You have 3 working days to get out of the deal without paying any penalty. And those 3 days will be, they can only be valid if they have to be on working days. So my tip on this part, sign on a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. So then you will have Wednesday, you have Thursday, Friday, and Monday. So actually you have 4 days. Then Thursday, so on. Then you have more days to think about it. And then once you have signed the purchase agreement, you send the purchase agreement to your mortgage advisor, and then it's time for him to start the process, the mortgage process. What we see today is that the mortgage process is taking around 4 weeks. I had a client last week that took 2.5, very fast. So, but we normally put in the offer around 5 to 6 weeks, or up to 5 weeks. That's something you can talk to your mortgage advisor. He will be the one to tell you more or less how long it takes. It's all based on your contract, on your salary, or the conditions of the buying and the mortgage, of course. But that's more or less what it takes. Let's work with the 4 weeks, and then your mortgage gets approved. And then you will receive, after a few weeks, depends on when your transfer date, you will receive a final invoice from the notary. In that final invoice, you see all those expenses. We talked about it before. Where are they? Those. You will receive the invoice about all those prices to pay to the notary, and the notary will transfer the money to everyone. They have to be paid 24 hours before you are the notary, actually. So you will receive this invoice. Keep it, of course, keep all the invoice, because you get your tax back in the next year. You have to do them, and then you might get some money back. Once the invoice is paid, you go into the notary, but even before you go into the notary, let's say the notary is at 11 o'clock in the morning, around an hour and a half before, you go into the house and you're going to do a last inspection. What is the last inspection? The last inspection is when you look at the house with the seller, with your agent, with the agent of the seller, you walk around the house and you see if everything is okay, is in order like it was before. For example, after the signing of the purchase agreement, the seller cannot do any changes in the house anymore, nothing. They can fix things if they're broken, but they cannot change anything. So that's exactly what you're going to look like. You saw a house, for example, there in July, and the house looks nice, and now, but the house now is empty. So you get a chance to see everything, and see if everything is the way it was before, and if there's nothing broke, or if there was something. Actually, he does have to tell you and then fix it. It all depends, of course, but the communication has to happen. So after that inspection is done, with the inspection as well, we also take pictures of the meters, water, gas, electricity, and because from that day on, of course, they're going to be in your name. And after that, you're going to the notary to sign the mortgage deed and transfer deed. I almost said purchase agreement again. So mortgage deed and transfer deed. Once you sign the transfer deed and the mortgage deed, then the house is yours. You are the owner. Of course, you have to pay attention about insurance. You have to do insurance house. A lot of mortgage providers do ask for life insurance as well. There's something your mortgage advisor will tell if it's mandatory or not. But from that day on, the house is yours. So we put it here some liability, end of the liability, about 2 months, and I want to explain a little bit about this, because this liability period is very gray zone. I have experienced before with clients that were very angry at the sellers because they moved in, and a few weeks later the dishwasher broke, for example, and they want the sellers to fix the dishwasher. But the whole kitchen was about 16 years old. So it was just really bad luck that the dishwasher broke. Maybe if they would have moved a month after, it would break with the seller, and the seller didn't have to fix it. So it's very hard, this liability period. And I also have seen that people see anything in the house and they want the seller to fix it. If they see, I don't know, some scratch in the wall, those kinds of things. If you're not buying a new house, if the house is already like 30-40 years, it's normal that some things are not going to be perfect. You should know that. But of course, if there is something you move in and there are hot radiators not working, for example, that's something that you have to talk to the seller, because they should work. So that's why I want you to understand this liability period, because it is a very gray zone. Some sellers are very nice, they're going to talk to you and try to solve the problem as soon as possible. I did have that with a client, very nice. They moved in. It was raining a lot in that day, and then in the evening it was like even worse. They bought a house in Woensel in Blixenbox, and then the other day he called me and said there was a lot of water in the attic. We don't know what to do. It was a terrible day though. It was raining a lot. It was like a storm. The government did say it was like orange color for the storm and everything. But he called the seller. He moved in like one day, only one day, and he called the seller, and the seller went there a few hours and fixed the leakage in the roof. So that was quite nice. But you see, it is a gray zone. So be careful with that. Who will meet during this process? So this is Robin, a mortgage advisor. So Robin share all the information, of course, in your mortgage and the best rate conditions, whatever you have to do to get the best conditions in the market. He will be your financial, he will look through all your financial, help you out, prepare all the documents. I'll even tell you, have the documents ready even before you have even before you sign an offer, have everything done already. So when you have the offer accepted, they can work even faster for you. He will submit the mortgage application. He will do everything. Of course, he will take the whole conversation with the bank and do the best deal for you regarding your financial and to you the whole process. So it's very important to have someone you trust, because they're going to look through all your financial part of your life. So it's very nice to have someone that can understand and be there for you when you need it, to have the big questions about your financial answer, of course. This is Alana, my colleague, another buying contact in our company. Alana, I will say Alana, but we will assist you and inform you during the whole full process of mortgage, search and viewings, enjoy them when depends on the package, of course, you choose. Prepare all the property research, price and documents. This is very important when you go to buy a house, when you go to Funda and see a house. Ask them for the documents of the house. In those documents, they most likely have a questionnaire. In that questionnaire, you can see the whole information about the house regarding everything that happened to the house. For example, leakage, when they did if they put a new kitchen, when was that, or how old is the kitchen, if they have any problems with sewage, or how old is the roof, those kind of information. And that will make your decision better about the technical inspection, for example. We also always advise our clients when to do it and when it's not necessary. So it's nice, but if you're doing that by yourself, ask for the documents, read it through it. They have a lot of them. If there is any, for example, restrictions to the house. My house, for example, I'm not allowed to change the windows in front, the frames of my windows. I'm not sure if there's one window, all of them in front, because it's a building from 1903, so I'm not allowed to. And that was in my transfer deed. So it's nice for someone that can read all those documents for you, make a summary, and then you know and then you can decide together if it's necessary or not to get a technical inspection for the house. Also, after you get the mortgage approved, schedule all the appointments you need for the notary, appraisal, technical inspection, be there with you, depending on the package that you choose, of course. Review all the Dutch and legal documents together. 99% of the documents are in Dutch. A few companies are now sending a kind of how do they say, a kind of a summary of or some kind of explanation in English, but not really the document in English, just for you to have a big idea about it. So be careful with that. And of course, prepare everything you need to send an offer the most safe way for you. This is Michelle. Michelle, of Michelle. I think it's Michelle in Dutch. I would say Michelle in Portuguese, but I think it's Michelle in Dutch. Michelle is the appraiser, the one you have to be able to get your mortgage. So once your offer gets accepted, you will go, Michelle will go to the house, she'll take pictures of the house, prepare the report, and she will say the actual value market for the house. And that will be the value. Of course, if you have a budget, the bank will give it to you. So let's work with 300K because it's easy. If you give an offer of 300K and Michelle goes there and says that the house is worth 290, that's what the bank will give. The other 10K, you're going to have to pay yourself. So you in cash. So that's why it's very important for you to have her before you sign the purchase agreement, you see, because then you can just boom, pull out of the deal without having any penalty. Michelle will come after, as you see, after you accept the offer to determine the value of the market. She will look at comparable properties around. So in the recent past, I would say maximum 1 year. And also if it's an apartment, the current situation, the bank also would like to know the current situation of the owner associations, how much they have in savings, what are the plannings for the futures, if they're going to make the building better or fix it, everything, those kind of things. They're also going to go through that. And that also Michelle, and then she will tell you what is the real market value for that property. She works as an independent party, as a third party. There is an association called NEWWI, and she prepares the report, and then they will review the report, and then everything will be sharing with the bank. It's an official association, of course, here in the Netherlands. It has to be. It depends on the rush of the mortgage advisor or the rush of the whole process. It can take up, I would say at least a week to the report to be ready, but it all depends on the situation, of course. Remember, mandatory. This is Millie, the building inspector. Depends on your language, you can call out the different ways. She's a technical inspector. Again, it's not legally required. You do if you want to have more knowledge of the whole building structure. That's why the documents come in very handy. And if you have an agent together, you decided if it's necessary or not. I would say if the house is older than 30 years, pay attention to it, look very good at the documents, and then you'll see if it's necessary or not. Immediately will come on a request to check the property condition. It will be this will be a visual inspection. Another thing I always tell my clients to be there with the technical inspection. I think it's very important because when you are there, you already can ask your questions. It takes about an hour. You can already ask your questions, and they can already tell you how much more or less it costs, what you should do. She will share a report with you in about 2 days. That it's a very nice report that tells each part of the house what you need to do and more or less how much they cost. And then you can decide if you can go through with the deal or not, if you want to fix the things or not. Just be aware that and normally in those reports you have things about 0 to 1 year that you have to fix it. Those things are called immediately, direct, they put in the report. And then you have 2 to 5 years and 5 to 10 years. So when it comes to negotiation about technical inspection, let's say you love the house, but then she said, we need to fix this roof and it costs 15,000. It has to be fixed now because it's very bad. So then it's time for negotiation. But if it's anything less than around, I would say, 7,000 euros, I would go 7,000 less minimal. There is no negotiation with that. All the houses always have something to do, and in this market, it's a very difficult negotiation. What I've seen it for the past few months, that some of the purchase agreements already come with there's no talk about anything regarding technical inspection less than 10,000 euros. I've seen it in more than 3 or 4 contracts already. So that's something you have to accept, or you get out of the deal before you sign anything. Just be aware of that. You have to click it again. And then the notary. The notary, I like the notaries in the Netherlands. First thing first, take the cheapest. They all do the same job. The contracts are all the same. Most likely they don't create like crazy articles in the notaries and the contracts. It's very easy to use. It's very easy to go through it. Of course, they are in Dutch, but what I like about the notary is that they do a kind of background check in the whole house, in the whole process, in the whole documents of the house, and then for everything to be more, I pass it, to be more smooth for you, of course. So hence create legally binding agreements between you and the seller and you with the bank. That's the mortgage deed and the transfer deed. And in some part of the Netherlands, they also make the purchase agreement, but it's not the case here. As you see here, come into play once your purchase agreement, purchase contract is signed. So once the purchase agreement is signed, you send to notary and they will do all the drafts. You also create the following documents for you: mortgage deed and transfer deed, and you will be able, as I said it before, he will be able to do a background check in the house and see if everything is okay. Of course, the house has to be free of mortgage as well for you to be able to take your mortgage. So those are the things that we'll check, and all the payments, if the payments are done to in the Netherlands, it's not legal to do any payments outside of the notary. So the notary also will do those payments for you and everything. And of course, that is a fee for that. And they also will arrange the translator for you. Frequent asked questions. What happens if you want to leave the country? Put it together some questions so maybe we can answer them now. You don't have to answer them later. That will be easy. Let's see. What happens if you leave the country after several years? Well, option one, you can keep your home but have mortgage costs as long as you still have your bank account and the payments are coming. I should be fine. The bank whatsoever might make you sell the property. It really depends on the kind of contract you're going to have as a mortgage. Again, mortgage advisor come very handy on those questions. This is just a big picture of the things. If you want specifics, please talk to them. Number two, rent out your home. You do need permission to rent out your home. That's going to be, you're going to read that on your mortgage deed. So you need to inform the bank about it and they will give you permission or not to rent. What they could do is, if you rent without permission, they can make you, of course, sell make you pay a fine or sell the property or make you change your mortgage to buy to let, where you can only borrow 70%, 70 Ludo, or 80.
I think it depends a little bit on the mortgage provider, but around 70 to 80. I would say maximum of 80%. Yeah.
Thank you, appreciate it. And then you're gonna have to pay, of course, the difference yourself. Or we have option three: sell your home without any penalty or capital gains, of course, taxes. These are some general how much I can borrow from the bank. Rules for your mortgage cap, based on your salary, based on the value of the property, of course. Again, the value, if you have an appraiser and the appraiser says that the property is only worth 300, but you bought it for 350, you're only going to be able to borrow the 300. The other amounts you're going to have to come you're going to have to pay in cash, based on your salary. It's because it's about 8 times your gross salary, and then that's your amount. 8 times, well, again, 8 times, right? Yeah, 8 times. And then you can calculate it more or less how much you can have as a mortgage. We do have a calculator on our website. It's very easy to use, so maybe you can go there and take a look. But of course, always check with the mortgage advisor to be sure. Residential mortgage or buy to let. There are differences on the own occupation obligation if you have a residential mortgage. I was in the notary today and they read that very loud and clear that he needs to leave it in the house himself if you have a residential mortgage. You do have low interest rates and you can have 100% of the value of the valuation value, and to buy to let, 70%. There you go. You have 70% only that you can have as a mortgage. There is an opportunity for you to have a mortgage for renovation, of course. I believe the name is About the Pole that you can have it. It's a different, there are different types of mortgage for that. I did that for myself as well to be able to renovate the house I live today. Of course, you do need an appraiser that will give you a report before and after renovation value. So that's how your mortgage advisor can calculate why would the bank give you money if the house the market value doesn't go up, right? So the banks need to know how much you're going to expend and how much you need and how much will be the final value of the house after the whole renovation. And of course, most likely will add value to the renovation. You do have to, the house will add value to the house. You do have to prove to the bank that you did use the money for that, for the renovation. I did that as well. You have to send all the invoices to be able to prove, and they will pay little by little those peoples. And as I said, request 2 values in the valuation report before and after the renovation. Can I rent out my house or a room? So not allowed to rent it anything with a residential mortgage. The bank, if the bank checks, you have to pay a fine, or they're going to make you change the mortgage, or they're going to make you sell the place. Only a room is allowed for 2 people without permission, not allowed for somewhere. So we put a website here so we can check what is allowed and what it's not allowed. For example, in Amsterdam, there is a law of, it depends on the square meters, you can only register an amount of people. So you do have to check that before to be able to have someone register in your place. So when you receive the presentation, you can check that as well. Depends on the area, depends on the city. Every city has different rules, so please be aware of that. What's the typical amount I should overbid? So that comes the overbidding thing we wanted to talk about with you. So everything goes about value. So the price, first I want to say to you that the price you'll see on Funda most likely is not the market value. They have a tendency to put the value much lower than what it is, just to get more people to visit the house, of course, and then to work with the overbidding. Because then, if you see a house on Funda for 300K, and then you pay 330, and then the valuation, the appraiser goes to the house and said that the house is worth it actually 330. That's actually the value market. So you actually didn't overbid. But for Funda, you did, because the asking price was 300, but the market value is 330. So you didn't overbid at all. So there are a lot of people that are talking about the overbidding without knowing they are not overbidding at all. Or if they are overbidding, it's much less that they are hearing here and then. I'm telling this because I went to a viewing with a client, and agent thought that we were married. So he said to my client, oh, you do have to overbid. Those days you need to pay at least 20% more to be able to buy this house. We're not going to accept anything less than that. So that's scary. If you have a house that costs, it doesn't matter which value, of 20% more, it's quite a lot. But after doing our price research and see that the overbidding didn't have to be that big, and the market value it was much higher than the price that they put on Funda. So that's why you have to be careful. So we have a little example for you. So asking price on Funda 400K, and then you do your price research, and you see, or you offer whatever you offer, but then the appraiser goes there and make a valuation that says that the price is actually 430. And your purchase price were 460. So you see, you didn't overbid 15%. You overbid around 75%, 7.5%. So that's the big difference when people tell you have to overbid 20% of the asking price. So you have to be very aware of that. It really depends on the market value. Now, with another example, asking price of 308, market value 430, purchase price 460. You see the difference? You can see already the difference between the asking price and the market value is quite high, and that happens more and more often in Eindhoven. I put an offer today, and the asking price, it was 425. And of course, we did our price research before sending the offer, and we saw on our price research that the market value, it was actually 450. So it's 25K more than the asking price. That's quite a lot. So we did send an offer for 450. If you have some money or more money, if you love the house that much, of course, you can always send more. But if you need 100% mortgage, 450 would be the maximum value if you would be able to get it. Of course, if you had the budget for. So that's just to understand a little bit this overbidding, because it's a lot of saying here and there, but the overbidding is about the price on Funda. It's not about the real value market. So please be aware of that. What is the 10% deposit I need to complete? Oh, so that's the bank guarantee, the down payment for the purchase price agreed on the purchase contract. It will come in all the purchase agreements. Bank guarantee or deposit in the account of the notary will be sent to the notary. It's 10% of the purchase price, doesn't matter the price, and can be used to cover the penalties. If, for example, you buy without financial clause and then your mortgage is not approved, you're going to have to pay 10% to the seller. Or if you get your mortgage approved, or you didn't even start your process, or for some reason you woke up and said, I don't like this house anymore. This is after you signed the purchase agreement and after the 3-day cool-off period. So I just don't like the house anymore. I don't think I want to buy it, so I'm not buying it. You're gonna have to pay the 10%. The only way you can pull out of the deal is if you don't get your financial approved, and that's only if you have financial clause. Any other thing, you're going to have to pay 10% for the purchase price to the seller. So please be aware and be careful when you make your offers. Oh, it's not going on. Yes. What are your fees? So about us a little bit more, what we charge. So we have two packages. We have the smart package and we have the complete package. So you can see the price over there, 2,499 and then 399. And we do ask for those packages a deposit. For the smart package is a deposit of 299, and for the complete package, the deposit of 399. You pay the deposit before everything, before we start anything, and then the rest of the package, the rest of the value, not the package, you only pay after we get your, we help you to buy a house. So let's say we are in October now, mid-October already, more than mid-October, end of October. Let's say you start work with us tomorrow, the day after, you pay the deposit. Let's say it's a smart package, 299, we send an invoice, you buy it, but we help you to buy a house, but you're only gonna transfer in March. That's fine, you pay the rest in March. Or if we put an offer for the first house and we didn't get it, that's fine. We're going to put for as many houses as you want. There is no maximum. We don't believe in that. We don't think it's like buying a jacket that you just have to put a few jackets and that's it. It's a house, so you can see as many as you like, and we will help you out with the offers. And yeah, and hope you get a house as soon as possible, of course. But if it takes longer, it's longer, and wait until you get your last inspection in the notary, and then when you get your keys, you make our payments. So that's how we work. And then with the complete package, it's a bit more expensive, but we have different things as well we can do for you. So since you're going to receive it, feel free to take a look. Feel free to take a look at the website. And oh, I want to talk about COVID. I had that question very often. I still have actually that question about COVID and the house market. So this is a little bit for you to take a look what happens. Can you see it, everything? Yeah, press in now. What happened with, that's not good. What happened with COVID, with the whole timing. This is the market for you to see between 995 and 2020. And then we have up to the Q3 in 2021, let's say the average price in Eindhoven region was 420 to buy a house. So
1 second, Diovana, we're losing you a bit.
Oh no.
Already. I think Diovana left us. And that means that I will finish the webinar here. I don't have the slides in front of me, but if you can all see me, that's perfect. And do you by any chance have any remaining questions I can answer for you? I see a question coming up from Siren. Why do we need a financial advisor since EHN has experts about banks and mortgages? Well, thank you very much for that question. Actually, we do not have experts in regards to banks and mortgages. The persons that we spoke about in this webinar are people that we work with, but are not directly related to EHN, meaning that, of course, we do have a huge network of contacts that we can send to you. But we are not financial advisors. We are real estate agents, and we will secure your home for you, not secure the financial part. And therefore, we always recommend to actually have a chat with a financial advisor as well. I hope that answers your question. Oh, I see a question coming in from Helder. By the way, Helder, I already saw that you booked an intake with us. Thanks very much for that. We look forward to having a chat with you. You asked about the 10% down payment. It should be deposit to the bank. Well, actually, there's two things that you can do. It's either a 10% deposit payment towards the notary, and the notary is like a person in between who will keep it for the sellers pretty much, meaning that if you pull out at the moment where you are due to make a payment or a consequence as in a fee, the notary will pay it towards the seller. If you do not have the 10% laying around in cash, which is more than normal, you can also apply for a bank guarantee. Your financial advisor can do this, or directly your bank can do this. They will draft up a written bank guarantee, send this to the notary, and this is equal to a 10% down payment. Cool. I think that is all the questions for now. I wish you a wonderful evening. Again, if you do have any other questions that are unanswered, feel free to reach out to us, and hopefully we'll be able to speak to each other soon. Enjoy your evening, guys.